In today's video, we'll be learning how to change the subject of an equation. But first, we need to know what that means. So we are going to use the example with the speed formula. Speed is equal to distance divided by time. In this formula, the way it is written right now, speed is the subject. We can think of the subject as being the variable or the symbol or whatever without any operations to it. In this case, we have division. So the subject will be opposite of that. So what if we want to change the subject and make d the subject, or distance? In order to do that, we have to use our equality properties. Remember, the equality properties are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, or exponents and radicals must be done to both sides to stay balanced. That was a little sloppy, I'm sorry for that. So let's go back to our example of the speed formula. Speed is equal to d over t. I'm going to use the multiplication equality property because multiplication is the opposite of division. So I multiply both sides. That gives me t times s is equal to d for distance. Time times speed is equal to distance. Or we could make t the subject. The way that we would do this, we would multiply both sides by t again. When we have t, s is equal to d, we now divide by s because division is the opposite of multiplication. Time is equal to distance divided by speed. Let's look at another example. This one's going to be a little bit harder. We're going to look at v is equal to 3a divided by a minus f. And our goal here is to make f the subject. Before we start moving variables around, it is important to know that 3a is divided by the partial solution of a minus f. So we're going to treat a minus f for right now as a pair. Okay, you can't move one without taking the other. That's why I put the parentheses there. So we have the opposite of division, which is multiplication. We're going to move a minus f. A minus f times v is equal to 3a. It's really tempting from this point to take v and divide both sides. But remember, another property that we talked about was the distributive property. A minus f times v means that we have av minus fv. So we are going to spread this out using the distributive property. And make that equal to 3a. because there's no negative sign in front of AV, this is subtracting AV from both sides. That gives us negative FV equal to 3A minus AB. Once again, we're going to break this out a little further. We have negative 1 times F times V equal to 3A minus AV. Negative 1 times F times V can be rewritten using the associative property. So we're going to put negative 1 times V times F. The reason that I do that is because we get negative V times F, and I can just divide by negative V. So F is the subject, and it is equal to 3A minus AV divided by negative V. And that one was pretty challenging. So if you need to, stop the video or go back, rewatch a few things, try to figure out what it is that I did and why I did those things. And then once you get back, I want you to try a couple on your own. The first one that I want you to try on your own is AY plus C is equal to 5C squared. The goal for this one is going to be Y as the subject. Pause the video, take a few minutes, try to make Y the subject of this equation. Hopefully you're back. You've taken a few minutes to figure this out. Maybe go back and rewatch the video and look at the equality properties to figure out what we need to do. In this equation, we have A times Y plus C is equal to 5C squared. If we think back to the order of operations, we know that we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, but we also have radicals, and we also have brackets. And one thing that I don't know if you picked up on the last example is that we work backwards up this order of operations when it makes sense to. That could be a little confusing. So for this example, we don't divide by A first, because this is going to take the first priority when we're solving. We have to make sure that they stay together. A is not being multiplied to C as well. We have to subtract C first. So we have A times Y equal to 5C squared minus C. Now we can divide both sides by A and have Y equal to 5C squared minus C divided by A. Let's do one more. And for this next one, we are going to look at W is equal to, that was weird, 16 parentheses T plus C divided by C. The goal here, make T the subject. Like the last example, go ahead and pause, take a few minutes, and see what you come up with. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. First thing we're going to do is multiply C on both sides. So we get WC is equal to 16 T plus C. We have to distribute. We saw that in one of the earlier examples. So we have C times 16T plus 16C. We subtract 16C from both sides. WC minus 16C, 16T. Now we can divide both sides by 16. T is going to be equal to WC minus 16C all over 16. That's all I have for this time, and we'll see you again.